Alright, welcome back everybody to another video. Here we're going to finish inking our Catwoman and finish the top portion of it. Once again, I'm using Copic multi-liner 0.5, 0.8, 0.1, 0.3, and those will be in the description. I'm also using my brush tip pen for filling in the larger black areas. Once I'm done with that, we're going to do a little brickwork, little texture on the brickwork down here, and then if we have time, we're going to do the background, the little Gotham skyline back there. The background is going to have just a misty, cloudy night effect, and that'll be done during our coloring session, which would be hopefully our next video if we're able to get done. I try to keep my videos about 30 to 35 minutes, so that's why you see part 1, part 2, part 3. And so here we go. If you have any questions, or you can put them into the comments section. If you have any recommendations or suggestions for projects I can do in the future, please put those in the comments as well. I'm going to start off with a 0.5. Move to a 0.3, a little bit finer tip in order to get some of these finer lines on the face and head.
Like, get away from me without
Right,
laughing.
depending on how much light gray you
Are
want,
you?
um,
I'm not.
you have a couple of options as far as putting in some gray tones are concerned. Um, you can wait until you get to the coloring portion of it, and you can just use your Copic grays. And see, I forgot a spot. Or you can go in with your multi-liners and create some grays through hatching. I'm going to use a lot of that texture on the brickwork here, but there's something you can do as well. So I would leave the lightest values to the outside where the reflectivity is, but on the inside you can do some hatching, some fine line hatching. I'm using a 0.3, and that's just going to create a value, just leaving some separation between the lines. I'll close up on that a little bit so you can see. Just using a simple hatch method, it's just going to push that value down a little bit. I'll do some more here on the leg. Actually, I might go the opposite way here. Zoom back out for a moment. As far as the bricks that she's standing on, I'm going to use a similar technique. Keep our lines more or less parallel to the ground. I may move up to a 0.5. There's no strong light source in this particular piece, but we're going to assume that she's casting a shadow directly below her. So we're going to concentrate the value underneath her, and then maybe a little lighter as we get out to the outside. But these are all going to be horizontal lines. You can go both directions. If you like that little gradation where it gets a little light, or if it's too light, you come back from the other direction with another layer. This is just one technique. There are many techniques that you can use, but we definitely want it to appear to be stone or brick. We don't want to make it super smooth because we already have a lot of smooth texture in the suit. Feathering is just one direction, lifting your pencil point up off the paper. Your pencil point, your pen point, whatever tool you're using. And I'll flip it around now. So I go from the other direction. And now as we move down to the face of the brick, We can choose to go a different direction. We could choose to continue to go horizontal, but we can cause some contrast by just taking that same technique but going down. And you can use some thicker lines, some thinner lines, and just drag it down. And I think that because this is in the foreground, it's going to be easily visible. It's not obviously the subject or the focal point, but it's close enough to where you want to spend some time making it look legitimate. So it's not an afterthought. It's a nice solid foundation for Catwoman to be on. It's presentable for an overall piece, and that's why we're taking the time to create the texture here. Otherwise we just say we're done, but we don't want to do that. So here I'm kind of going up and down a little bit, not just feathering. Gotham is a pretty old city with some pretty old Gothic buildings, and these bricks could stand some weathering. You can cross-hatch these as well. It's up to you how dark you want to make them. Again, you want it to be a good value foundation for your figure, so the overall mood or theme, let's say mood of the picture is pretty dark. It's a nighttime scene. It's in Gotham City. We have a city scene behind us. Catwoman is on the prowl. So I would take your time and work some pretty good texture into these bricks right here. Use your brush tip pen for some larger areas, larger shadows. Just going to break up the space a little bit. Every artist has different techniques that they can use. These are just a few that I've learned over time. I'm going to come back the other way. And go up into the work that I've already done. And then you do the same thing down for this lower row. Moving along quite well. Let's see if there's anything that is missing at this point. For next time, before we start our coloring process, we just got to pay a little attention to our background, the city, Gotham City skyline. I suggest you use a straight edge on some of those things if your straight edges aren't the best. That's okay, it'll give it a very, artistic feel. If you want to just kind of clean them up a little bit, there's nothing wrong with using a straight edge at all. anytime you add letters to a drawing in a city, make sure that they are bold. Some beginners make the mistake of just literally writing like they were writing their name. It's just single line letters. It just doesn't look quite as good because everything in a city would be like a marquee, be big and bold so you can notice it. Alright, so we did some good work today. We got the figure finished. We started doing the brickwork there, and then we're working on the skyline back there. So for next time when we begin the coloring process, there's going to be a lot of grays. We're going to maybe put a purple tint over her outfit. It's pretty black, but overall there's still a little purple to it. But thanks very much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you don't want to miss another one, please click subscribe or leave a comment, and we'll see you next time. Thanks very much.